neighbors, I am Ariana and I am the therapist next door. I recently turned 40 a couple months ago and I was thinking about all the important life lessons that I've learned up until this point, and I thought that it would be a really good idea to share some of those with everyone. Let's jump into it. These are not in any order in terms of importance. I think they're all important. But just make sure you do stay tuned for the whole video because there are a lot of gems in this one. And a lot of these I've probably had to learn the hard way. So I want to just share this knowledge. And by the way, this video isn't necessarily just for women or for anybody of a particular age. I think it's always good to learn. If you are in your 20s or your 30s, that there's a lot of benefit you could get. And if you're older, I also think there's benefit you can get in terms of reflecting if these are lessons you've learned. If any of you have things to add to the list, please make sure you leave that down below in the comments. So the first one that I have for you guys is figure out how to make money. Your 20s is really, maybe even before your 20s, is a really good time to really make mistakes, test the waters. This is not the time that you want to get locked into a 9-to-5 corporate job that you hate, unless you know that that's your path to get where you want. But if you really don't like that work, it's probably good for you to really consider other career paths. This is a time when maybe you could do an internship that doesn't pay as much. Maybe you're still living with your family and you can afford to take some of these risks. I'll definitely say that if you are wanting to get into any sort of creative space, there's really no cutting corners. You're gonna have to start from the bottom. So maybe it's working as somebody's assistant or apprentice. Doing that early on, if that's what you're passionate about, even though it might not pay as much in the beginning, it's something that you can build a foundation from and grow from there. Learning how to make money early on, learning about the best high yield savings accounts, learning about investing, that's something that I wish I would have done more research and active practice in when I was younger. I think that if I would have been investing, obviously at this point at 40, I probably would have had a lot more in terms of savings and investment equity and all of that. So make sure you do educate yourself, and even if it's just a little bit, that you're able to do that. Find a way to make money, because as you get older, you're going to learn more about what kind of lifestyle is important to you. If you really like to travel, if you like to go out to dinner, you're going to want to have kids, if you're going to want to potentially, own a home. These are all things that cost a lot of money. You're going to help yourself out a lot by figuring out a good strategy of how to make your money. And preferably if you could start to figure out some passive income streams, again, with maybe investing or side hustles, I would say that's a really good thing to just start doing early on. My one tip here is do not stay in a job that you hate just because you're getting that check. Obviously, I'm not suggesting you just quit your job, look for another job, but experiment. Don't be afraid to try different things. This is really the time to do that. Number 2 on the list is learn how to say I'm sorry. We're human, we all make mistakes. So I think that learning how to make repairs and being genuine in your apologies, being able to acknowledge if you've hurt somebody, whether it's the person you're in a relationship with, a friend, a family member, maybe even a coworker, it's going to make the quality of your relationships a lot better. A lot of us don't grow up in families where we see that demonstrated often, so make sure that you break that cycle and you dig in. It's probably going to be uncomfortable if it's something you're not used to, but it will get a lot easier with practice. Number 3 would be learn how to set and maintain boundaries. I would say especially with family members. There is a lot of information out there on boundary setting and all of that, but this is something I see in my practice with a lot of clients. I see them struggling with issues of having difficulty saying no, being people pleasers, and I see them being really unhappy. So what I always tell people is that you're either going to have situations where you disappoint others or you disappoint yourself. I'm not suggesting that you always disappoint others or that you always disappoint yourself, aka being a people pleaser and never saying no. I think you have to find that middle ground where you have to tolerate being okay with saying no sometimes, even though it's going to disappoint other people, and knowing that you have your reasons for that. If you can't ever fully get over that hump, you're going to lock yourself in a situation where you're always going to be the one disappointed, and I don't think that that's a good way to be. Number 4 might be kind of strange, but if you want plastic surgery, this is probably mostly for my ladies out there. Don't wait. And I'm not encouraging anybody to get plastic surgery, but let's say there's something that maybe you've wanted a breast augmentation or a BBL or a nose job or hair transplants or whatever it is. You've thought about it for a long time. It consumes a lot of energy in your brain. You've done your research. You're really not doing yourself any favors by waiting, years and years and years to get that, because if it's something that you've really thought about and you really want to do, it's better for you to just figure out a plan of how to do that, whether you're going to finance it, how you're going to pay it off, how you're going to save for it, starting to get those consultations, because the sooner you can get that procedure done, again, that you're torturing yourself over and that you know that you really want, the longer you're going to have to enjoy it, and you're probably going to wish you would have done it sooner. Failure is a necessary part of success, so don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to start that business or post content on social media. If it fails, then the best thing that's going to happen from that is that it gives you an opportunity to learn from that failure. You can look at the analytics, you can study what went wrong so that you can keep going. The people who succeed are not the people who don't fail, it's just the people who don't give up. Get comfortable with failure. Use it to your advantage, learn from it. I would suggest that you either think about moving out of the city you grew up in, or make sure that you have an opportunity to travel, preferably every year, maybe a couple times a year. That's one of my biggest regrets, is not moving to another state. When you live in different places or when you travel, I've had the opportunity to, I've created the opportunity for myself to travel to a lot of different countries. It just makes you so much more cultured. You have so much more to talk about. You never know what kind of people you're going to meet, and it's just more points to connect on in your talking points. And also it's just an amazing experience to see different parts of the world, learn different cultures. I really think that it just makes you grow as a person. It makes you so much more appreciative and mindful. So I can't speak enough about the importance of travel. Never stop learning would be my next one. So make sure that you read. I know nowadays I even struggle myself with my attention span, but it's a really good practice to just read for fun, read for education. There's so many amazing books out there. Nowadays, we also have access to a lot of good podcasts, a lot of good audiobooks. So never stop learning. I really think, again, it enriches you. It's good exercise for your brain. It also makes you a little bit more cultured in your talking points with other people. I also think it helps with your grammar and your vocabulary. That's another one on the list. Really important, next point, is to exercise. Take care of yourself. Like, these are small things, like literally, using sunscreen or taking good care of your skin, moving your body, having a daily or at least a few times a week movement practice is so important. Whatever you're doing, as a teenager in your 20s and your 30s, and then obviously upwards, is really going to be beneficial for you down the road. So there's a lot of science out there on that. It's not about being perfect. I don't know who invented this, but it's kind of thinking about shooting for that 80%. Eat healthy 80% of the time, for example, so that you can definitely indulge once in a while so you don't feel deprived, but you're really kind of just setting that foundation for your health. Because in the long run, if you don't take care of yourself, your body's going to let you know later with disease or starting to break down or injuries, and that's going to be a lot worse than just really focusing on your maintenance with your self-care. This one is probably, I would say, the most important one on the list, is to practice gratitude daily. Cannot tell you how much this has changed my life, but I highly recommend that you find a way to practice gratitude daily. For me, I do it in the morning. I use the 5-minute journal. It prompts me with 3 things that I can think of to be grateful for, and it just starts my day off in a really positive way. In the evening, it asks for 3 highlights of my day, which I think is another cool thing, because you're kind of always looking out for what's going well. Gratitude is a huge game changer, so if you don't know too much about that, I would really encourage you to maybe learn more. There's again, a lot of research, a lot of experts that have come out talking about the vast benefits of having gratitude practice in your life. And if you want to get into law of attraction and drawing opportunities to you, the best thing you can do is be in a state of abundance, which gratitude helps you get into. Next one on the list is honing in on your intuition. So a lot of times we struggle with, okay, well, what is my intuition? What is my gut telling me to do? Because we really haven't practiced just getting quiet and letting our gut speak to us. So whatever ways you can find, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through journaling, whether it's through maybe just even taking a beat or taking a pause before you say yes or no to something, this is a really good practice that will develop your intuition and help you just continue to work on being aligned in your life in terms of your purpose and being authentic to what feels right for you. The next one is write things down. You know, that idea that you get in the middle of the night, or, you know, some business thing that crosses your mind when you're walking down the street, you're gonna forget it. I promise you, you will. Life gets crazy and, you know, thoughts are very fleeting. So I really, really encourage you to get into the habit of writing things down. Those ideas that you get, those are amazing. They're downloads directly from the universe. Use them, but write them down so that you can at least come back to them later and maybe at least have some sort of skeleton to what that thought was that you can add on to later. My last one on the list is to get therapy, utilize coaches, mentors. Most people in life that are really thriving, are really succeeding, they have a solid network. They have people that they can talk to, that they can ask for advice. They have therapists that they can work on their mental health with. This is just kind of that leveling up. So try to see if you can get going on that if you're not already doing that, because it's really going to up level you from wherever you are right now. These last couple things are things that may surprise you when you get to be 40 years old. So the first thing is you're going to lose some friends along the way. Your relationships are going to change. I think when you're younger, you think, oh my gosh, I'm always gonna have this best friend forever. But as you grow, as you evolve, and as other people grow and evolve, or sometimes stay stagnant, these relationships sometimes no longer serve you in a beneficial way. And it can be really painful. It can bring up a lot of grief, but it is very normal. I've been through it a few times now with relationships that I thought I'd have forever. So know that that's going to happen. Don't let it catch you by surprise. Know that it's normal. It's a part of life. It's nothing bad. It's actually a signal of your evolution. The next thing I would say is you never really feel like a grown-up. People don't really talk about this, but you look at people and you assume because they're a certain age, or because they're married, or they have kids, or they have a house, that they've got it all figured out and they must feel like such an adult. You never really feel this way. Truly, we're always figuring it out. And right as you're riding that high and you feel like you're doing really great in your life, something happens, you go through a breakup, or you lose your job, or some other disappointment, and it kind of cuts you right back down to size, and you have to constantly be figuring it out. So you're never gonna probably feel like you've got it all figured out or like you're an adult, but just know that you're human, you're here for a reason. You're trying, you woke up every morning, and that's as best as we can do sometimes. So give yourself grace. I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know what you guys thought. If you have any to add to the list, please, please, please leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely see you guys soon. Authentically yours, Ariana.